Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News, September 15th, 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, over the course of the last couple of days, I've been inundated with emails and inbox messages pertaining to a little lady out there in the state of Indiana that goes by the name of Gina Maria Colvin Hill. And as of lately, she's been creating quite a stir on Facebook and the internet with some of the photographs that she's been taking. Now, let me give you just a little bit of history between myself and Gina. Many months ago, one of my subscribers from Planet X News shared a video with me. The video was taken by Gina, and it was just a normal sunset video, and the video was kind of intriguing because it was showing us the sun simulator. I showed that video to Dr. Elbers, and we both agreed that yes, there was something very mysterious within that video. So I had contacted Gina, and I asked her permission to use her video. We wanted to dissect it. She agreed, and she knew who I was, and she knew who Dr. Elbers was, and she was quite flattered that I contacted her and that we wanted to use a piece of her video footage, and that was all great. She had agreed to a friend request that I had sent her on Facebook, and from that point on, she only had, I believe, maybe a couple of hundred friends on her Facebook page, and over the course of the last couple of months, her Facebook page has exploded, and she's, vastly moving close to 5,000 friends. That's all fantastic. In the course of this time, Gina's gone out and she's purchased all kinds of equipment, cameras and telescopes and adapters and lens covers, and she shows all of this on her Facebook page as she does her videos. But everything that she is showing people is nothing more than camera anomalies, camera artifacts, and lens flares. Now, she admits that she doesn't know what she's looking at. And, I'm really not the type of person that, goes out there and starts debunking people's videos and their photographs, because everybody has the right to do whatever they want to do. So, I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these emails coming in and these inbox messages coming in, and people showing me these photographs such as what you are seeing on your screen right now. And this was a photograph that Gina had taken, and she was portraying it as a large disc-shaped object near the sun, quote, a UFO. And ladies and gentlemen, this is nothing more than the internal housing of a telescope. That is it. Now, many websites have gained access to her photographs, and basically they are UFO websites, and they are all out there portraying all of these photographs as UFOs. Gina said that one of the planets was an egg-shaped planet, and so on and so forth. And I showed all of the photographs to a very good friend of mine who is a professional photographer for 35 years now. And he does have state-of-the-art equipment. And his daughter recently graduated, and she is a forensic photographer. And she works for the Pennsylvania State Police. And we reviewed a lot of the photographs. And Bill said the same thing that I said. He, and I'll just quote his comment. He said, "Wow, This just really seems to be nonsense, complete nonsense. And, I agreed, but I'm not the kind of person that would just go out there and blurt this out in her comment section under her videos and her photographs. So I contacted her myself, and we're going to go ahead and jump out of this picture here. And let me just go right over here. And as you could see, this is the conversation between myself and Gina. And, she has watched our videos and Dr. Elber's videos with Wayne Steiger. And, the other day, I think this was Thursday, I contacted her. And, I was telling her that, look, Gina, many people are contacting me about your photographs. And I go on and on and on, and I'm explaining to her in detail what the problem is with her photographs and what she is actually doing. So folks, whenever you hold a cell phone camera up to the eyepiece on another camera or a pair of binoculars or a telescope eyepiece, you are going to get crazy looking anomalies. Okay, you are not going to get clear photographs. And the reason being is because of all of the lenses that the light has to travel through. I've tried to explain this to her, but I believe that now she's pretty infatuated with the notoriety that she is getting. And here she quotes, "I don't know what I'm seeing, so I just share it, and it's people like you who know what they are seeing." And I told her, clean the mirror and your eyepiece. And the mirror I'm referring to is the mirror in the back of your telescope, a reflector, a reflecting telescope. There are 3 screws in the back housing. You take that off, gently remove the mirror, and you clean it with a microfiber cloth. And you make sure that there are no fingerprints and no dust particles on it. She goes on to say, and since I don't know the scientific name of everything I'm looking at, and sometimes I don't get clear images, but that's okay, because sometimes I do get clear images. There are many people out there who are watching my posts now and know exactly what they're looking at. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to disagree with that, because I read those comments and these people think that they're looking at planets and egg-shaped planets and UFOs and all of this other nonsense. Well, here's the deal, folks. Whenever you're out there in the public eye, you try to do your best to define your work. You try to make sure that what you are putting out there for people to see is true and real, not fake. Deceiving your viewers is just bad. Absolutely bad. I don't agree with that, especially making people believe that we're being invaded by alien spaceships around the sun. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. Over the course of my research, I've caught many crazy-looking anomalies on the coronagraphs that definitely look like alien spaceships. But this is a little bit different. So she goes on to say that, yes, there are many people watching my posts now, and they know exactly what they're looking at. And they're commenting with, they think they're saying in reality, or what they're seeing is reality. But thank you for your concern, she said. And, I told her to be very, very careful who she's affiliating with on Facebook. I'm just trying to give her a little bit of advice, because, these people will start to troll her. They will make her life a miserable hell. And they will get into your family business, and they will try to ruin your reputation. But ladies and gentlemen, you can't ruin your own reputation by putting out false information. That is just a big no-no. It's complete nonsense. And, I'm going to show you. And, I went on to tell her more about, trying to be as accurate as possible. And she says, thank you. And I said, sure thing, chickie. She gave me a big thumbs up. And then later on, she blocked me from Facebook. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. I really don't care about that. But if you go to Google now and you Google her name, Gina Maria Colvin Hill, all of these stories are coming up. And these are all nonsense stories. They're all using her information, portraying it as she did, as egg-shaped planets out there near the sun, alien spaceships, debris trails. And, she's even claiming that she's using infrared technology on her telescope. Well, once again, that's complete nonsense, because she's showing people the red lens covers that she bought for her camera and telescope. That is not infrared technology. Those are simple filters. That's it. So again, you see it right here. Incredible infrared images. Gina Maria Colvin Hill. And this was put out by the Fifth World. These are all nonsense stories. And she's making some headway there. Now, I've even have people inboxing me and saying, hey, someone's out there saying this lady works for the FBI, or she's feeding all of her information to the FBI. Look, folks, people will start all kinds of complete BS rumors to just flood social media. Here's the deal, okay? This is disclose.tv. And this is another batch of her photographs. Headline: Massive armada of UFOs emerging out of the giant spiral near the sun. And it goes on, and, they even misused her name here. And, they state where she lives, and this is a giant disc-shaped UFO, when in fact, ladies and gentlemen, this is nothing more than the back housing of the telescope. Now, I'm going to show you some photographs that my friend Bill, who is a professional photographer, and he does have the proper equipment because he is a stargazer, and he has a pretty nice telescope, and he actually has the camera attachment parts for his telescope and specific programs and a laptop that it's all hooked up to the telescope to take proper photographs, like real astronomers and stargazers do. You just can't hold cell phone lenses up to eyepieces on another camera, binoculars, or a telescope, because you are going to pick up magnified dust and even magnified insects. So I'm going to show you one of those. These videos are no longer available here. And it says, if the objects in the images are not lens flares or objects reflecting in the lens of the camera, but massive motherships and a fleet of smaller UFOs. Blah, 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 blah. So I've given Gina all of the correct information, and I said, look, just be careful what you're doing, because people are going to start referring to you as a complete fraud. And you don't want this, because these people will literally get into your life and turn it upside down. Well, she did not take my advice. She, I guess, is enjoying all of the notoriety, and she will continue to take these photographs. And now she definitely knows exactly what she's looking at, because I've given her the professional advice. I've shown her all of the mistakes, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to cruise over here, and we're going to start taking a look at a few photographs. And this right here, folks, this is a small clip-on magnifying scope for your cell phone. Now, This is pretty good if you're going to take some normal photographs of objects that are far off in the distance. But whenever you clip this to your cell phone camera and you point it directly at the sun, you are now creating internal anomalies because of the multiple magnified lenses that the light is going through. Number one, big no-no. Okay, now these are some photographs that Bill took for me 2 days ago. He sent them over to me and he said, look, Scott, you're going to see all kinds of anomalies, and this is what I've done. I've pointed my telescope, an older telescope, excuse me. He said, I pointed it directly at my kitchen light on the ceiling because it was cloudy outside. He couldn't get any sun. And he said, look, lo and behold, here's the sun, but it's really his kitchen light. And here is an alien spacecraft. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the shape of that. That is an alien spacecraft. Now, he's had this telescope in storage for a little while. He has a brand new, huge model that he uses. And he said, you're going to see some things that are, you're going to laugh at. Here's another photograph, all of these multiple planets, whatever you want to call them. You could see the housing of the internal parts of the tube of the telescope. Another alien spacecraft here. And this is a pretty good shot. This is not the sun, folks. This is the mirror in the back of the telescope because it is a reflecting telescope. Now, when you zoom in on things like this and you crop it and you put it off to the side over here, oh, look, there's an egg-shaped planet or, UFO, whatever you want to call it. And again, same thing. When you look at the full picture, you can see what you're looking at. But if you zoom into it and you crop the photographs, and you move things out of the way so you can't see all of the photograph, then it's very easy to perpetrate that fraud. And I hate to use that word, but that's exactly what's happening within her photographs. This was a photograph that he took, and this was him shining light directly down into the tube of the telescope. And here you have a blue planet. And she has shown this blue planet many, many times. It's nothing more than a lens flare. And again, same thing here. This is supposed to be the sun, but it's not the sun. It's nothing more than the reflection of light on the mirror inside of that telescope. Same thing applies here. You have multiple planets. You have the Star of David in your telescope. You could actually see the housing of the telescope right here. But folks, again, whenever you zoom in, look, it turns into a blue planet. Look, it turns into another planet. So, the lady is not telling people the truth about what she's seeing and what she's doing. And, I really hate to turn things this way, but whenever I have hundreds of people inboxing me, emailing me, and, asking me all of these questions, sending me all of these photographs, and, it's very repetitive over and over and over and over again, I'm explaining it's taking up entirely too much of my time, and I don't have time for it. And whenever I tell you exactly what you've done wrong and you don't correct it, well, here you go. Once again, internal light source. It's not the sun. These are not planets. These are nothing more than reflections. And again, if you zoom in real close and you cut out half of the photograph and you can say, wow, here's the sun. And look, 1, 2, wow, look at those planets. Okay, and I'm not using infrared technology. Same thing goes here. You could see the housing of the telescope and the mirror in the back. Same thing with this photographs. You know, Bill was taking bunches of these photographs and you know, catching these anomalies. There's our spaceship once again, and there's the big planet. There is the sun, which is nothing more than the mirror. And we're going to get to some other really good photographs that Bill took that show like laser beams and waves moving. Now, take a look at this. Now you have the internal ribbing of the housing of the telescope right here. But if you zoom into this, it looks like some type of big beam blasting into the sun. Move over this way, and now you can institute planets, dots, dust. That's all that it is. Now, let's move down to the huge debris trail. You see that debris trail down there, folks? You see all that, right? That's a massive debris trail that was around the sun. But in actuality, it's nothing more than crusty dirt. Dust, magnified, because he's had this sitting in storage for about 6 months. Here's another internal photograph, and yeah, the sun's exploding. There was another YouTube channel that took one of her photographs, and also probably some half-assed photograph that they took, and they're portraying that the sun was exploding on this side. It's nothing more than junk. We're going to move on to the next one. Here you go. Same thing. This is not the sun. Bill was pointing his telescope inside of his living room, and this time he was pointing it directly at a lamp. And that's why you have the different color. But again, if you zoom in, you can portray that as anything. You can say, oh wow, look, it's the sun. Look, something's exploding in the middle of the sun. Clickbait, folks, that's all that it is. If you're going to delve into researching Planet X, then you better brush up on your science. And it's taken me 20 years to do all of this. Here is another internal shot of his lamp in his living room and the massive debris trail that is forming. And you could see these very, very large asteroids, and they're being expelled from the sun. And if you zoom in, folks, yeah, it's not that clear, but easily portrayed as UFOs, space rocks, the sun exploding. This is a little more clear. Look at the debris trail. Look at that. I mean, that's pretty clear. You got some crusties down in there, and you could easily say whatever you want whenever you zoom in. And you could say, look at this radio wave or this microwave coming off of the sun, when this is nothing more than Bill's lamp in his living room. Okay, this is another good shot, much more clear. If you zoom in and you leave out the bottom, or you just show the bottom part here, there's a good shot of some type of a, microwave beam. Look, it blasted the bottom of the sun and put a big dent in the bottom of the sun. But it's nothing more than the mirror in the back of the telescope. That's it. That's all that it is. And again, same thing with this photograph. And I hate to make videos like this because I'm not that type of a person that runs out there and debunks people's videos, because I'm not about that. I feel that people have the right to show whatever they want to show and do whatever they want to do. We still have some freedoms. But ladies and gentlemen, when many people, when thousands of people are watching what you are doing, and you're outright lying to them, when you know better, when you've had professional advice on what you're showing, and you choose to ignore it and continue, well, you're going to be labeled a complete fraud. And that's what's happening. And that is the road that she is going down. Again, internal reflections of the mirror inside of the camera house, or excuse me, inside of the telescope housing. You can see right here, again, more dirt and debris. I can move this photograph up. Look, the sun is, look at this. Look at these massive asteroids. Look at this. I mean, this is just intense, but it's not true. Okay, same thing here. This looks like a hair. I think that might be a hair. I do believe it is. Massive asteroids. Okay, the sun, the egg-shaped sun, or the egg-shaped planet, whatever you want to call it. And this is a pretty good photograph, and here you can see the detail of the nuts and bolts of the interior of this telescope, and Bill did this on purpose. Took a little bit of a side angle, and you could see the eyepiece sticking downward into the telescope. Here you have a green planet, blue planet, and the sun is now shaped like a sideways diamond. And if you zoom in real close, well, you have another planet right up there. Excuse me, folks. My allergies have been acting up horribly the last couple of days. This is another internal photograph that Bill took. He took this in high definition just to show you that dust inside of a telescope is just a no-no. And again, this telescope's been sitting for several months. And even if your telescope sits for a short amount of time, it's not covered properly, you can get dust particles inside of that tube, and it will create anomalies. And if you look back there, way in the back, where those 4 planets are and the sun, oh, that's the mirror. That's the reflecting mirror in the back of the telescope. And this is just the internal components of a simple telescope. And again, just more photographs, more debris coming from the sun. And that's what we have here. And here's a picture I took of the sun. So, again, I've tried my best to help her and make her understand that, look, what you're showing people is not real. It's completely fake, and you know what you're doing now. So these are photographs that were sent over to me, and I examined them. And again, this is the internal mirror right here of the telescope. She has cropped it. She has cut it out. And if you zoom in, that's a fragment of dust. This is not an armada of spacecraft. I'm sorry. As much as I would love to see something like that, because I am a true alien believer, it is not true. This photograph she was showing, and Bill, they magnified, him and his daughter put this in their computer program, and they magnified this. And his daughter is a forensic photographer. Again, she works for the Pennsylvania State Police, and she thinks that this is a flea or a gnat, some type of insect that has gotten down into the telescope. So once again, folks, if any of you are following Gina, I guess you can continue to check out what she's doing, but understand that the photographs are not of egg-shaped planets. They're not mysterious UFOs. They're not anything of that kind. They are simply internal housing reflections from the mirror in that telescope. And she has shown people many times before her setups. And again, if you're going to put multiple lenses up against a magnifying lens on a telescope, you are not going to get clear and precise photographs. You're going to get whatever you want to see. So if you want to see an egg-shaped planet, well, that's what you're going to see. But you should really keep those photographs to yourself instead of perpetrating lies and making people believe something that is truly not there. Ladies and gentlemen, if any of you are friends with Gina on Facebook, share this video with her. And now all of you can stop sending me the emails and all of the pictures, so you now know what you're truly looking at. Later on this evening, folks, we have made another discovery out there by the sun. And this is a true discovery. Very good photographs. And this may have some connection in what is going on at the observatories around the United States being closed down, specifically the Sunspot Observatory in New Mexico. Dr. Elbers and I will be holding a live stream tonight at 8 p.m. I will show everyone these new photographs, and they are showing 3 anomalies, I'll call them at this point in time until Dr. Elbers analyzes these photographs, and they are clearly showing something out there right next to the sun. And we're going to be looking at some disturbances on the magnetosphere and our solar wind that is absolutely outrageous. So folks, stay tuned to Planet X News. We'll be holding this live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Planet X News. Take care.